What's up, everyone? Welcome to our Last of Us Season 2 recap, I guess we're calling it now. We are on episode 2. This is, I think, Through the Valley is what it's called. As always, I am Phil.
Joe.
So we will be spoiling episode 2. So if you haven't watched it yet, not that anything really important happens in episode 2,
Kind of a dud.
um, just, if you want to watch it before you watch this, that's probably fine. So we're gonna wait just a little bit. So if you haven't watched it, you just turn this off. And now that they're all gone, shit went down.
Yeah, that was yeah, yep. How do we talk about this without spoiling it? But
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
now
I
we
think we're in
can.
the clear now. If anybody's still left who hasn't watched the episode, that's on them.
I know you really have to, it should be mandatory. There should be warnings up all over the internet. And I gotta say, I'm so grateful as a non-game player. I'm so grateful to the game players for not having spoiled this because it's
Well,
huge.
it is huge. So like the first episode, like I was trying to see where they were gonna go in episode 1 because the event happened so early on in the game that it could have been in episode 1.
That's crazy. So, okay, so let's just say
Yes.
there's a major character death, and it's one of the two main characters, and it's Joel.
Yes. And his name is Joel.
His name is Joel. Um, and it happens, but it happens in the beginning of the game, you're saying.
Yeah, so like basically all the stuff that you saw in the first episode of the season happens later on in the game, or is you find out later on in the game.
Right, it's all through flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the show is setting itself up to do sort of the same thing, even more through flashback, because I feel like Pedro Pascal is still part of the show, even though his character is not.
Yes.
Okay.
So like it seems like there's some stuff, not to spoil like some future episodes, but like there is content in the game that they have not gotten to yet that has Joel in it.
Okay. Terrific. Awesome. Wonderful. I love it. What an episode. Can you guys hear my dog going crazy in the background? Apologize for
He
that.
really loved Joel.
He's like, Joel, R.I.P. So we were having trouble last time we recorded trying to figure out what this episode was going to be called. Like online, it just said episode 2.
Yeah. So I like a funny thing happened. Like I in the middle of the episode, like I was watching on Max, and like I hit the remote control, and it brought up the timeline, and it still said episode 2 while I was
Yeah.
playing it.
Yeah. On HBO Live, on HBO, it said the same thing. Yeah.
But like as soon as I finished the episode, I went back to the menu. It said Through the Valley.
I didn't see the actual title until I looked it up I was looking up something on IMDb, and they had it listed there. And I was like, oh, cool. Um, and they didn't list it like before the season because it's apparently a spoiler. Like Through the Valley is the title of a song that's played
Yeah,
at this
and it
part of
plays
the
at the
game.
end of this episode too.
Okay, right, yes. So if people had seen that, they'd be like, oh, Joel dies in the second episode. So it's good they kept it out. There's a reason they kept it out, but now we know it, and that's great. And yeah, what like even if Joel didn't die in this episode, what an episode!
It
Like,
was crazy. Like um all the Jackson stuff not in the game. Like
so yeah, let's go through the rundown, and you can point out exactly where it we get stuff from the game and where we don't get stuff from the game. So first one, I'm assuming is not in the game. It's Abby's dream. We see Abby walking down the hallway of the hospital, and we know it's a dream immediately for a couple reasons. There's another Abby there talking to her, telling her not to go into the room, that she's going to see her dead father on the ground, and his brains are going to be everywhere. We also know it's a dream, though, because there's no bodies on the floor.
yes,
And if it was real, we know she'd have to be climbing over
bodies everywhere.
the Joel's murder victims. Uh, they'd be everywhere. So we know it's a dream. Um, this can't be in the game, can it?
So honestly, I cannot remember specifically if this is in the game or not, but I'm leaning towards it is. Uh, I think there may be sequences because I have memories of like walking down those corridors again, and you may be playing like a dream sequence. Like this would happen later on though in the
But
game.
okay, didn't you play at some point as Abby?
Oh, that's the other. That, I guess since you don't know anything about the game, uh, you play as both Abby and Ellie in the game,
But not Joel.
but not Joel. Not Joel. Yeah, I don't think you played. No, you don't play as Joel at all.
Not even Ghost Joel haunting everybody.
I mean, uh, I don't know that you can control ghosts in
Oh
this
man,
world.
can we get The Last of Us 3, the spirit of Jackson? It's Ghost Joel just haunting everybody. Okay. So in the dream, she warns herself not to look in the room. His brains are all over the place, but she doesn't believe herself and goes in anyway. And then she wakes up, and we know that they're in the lodge. In the last episode, they were approaching Jackson at nighttime, and now they've slept at a lodge that beautifully overlooks the city. Like, how does the city not see this lodge? And
Well, I think so in the previous episode there's a sequence where Ellie is doing sniper training with Tommy, and I think you can see the lodge when they're doing the sniper training.
okay, great. Um, that's terrific. So when they wake up, the team of Abby and her people, who we will come later to know as they are wolves,
They are
but
wolves. Yeah.
they are vowelless wolves. It's WLF. They're uh, their reaction basically is that the city is bigger than they expected, and no one but Abby wants to go through with this plan. Like, no, they're not really coming out and say it. They're just kind of dancing around it. Like, maybe this is a bad idea. Like, the chances of us surviving are really low, but none of them clearly want to do it. And it's got to be like that in the game too. Like, her supportive staff is like thinks this is
Yeah.
crazy too.
So again, I don't really remember this part of it that well. I think there are definitely some reservations as to like um how far they go, I guess.
Okay, interesting. I think yeah, it's they're such an interesting team, and I know that they're going to be important. But okay, we'll get to it eventually. All right, so then we cut to Jackson, and we see there's a knock on Ellie's door, and it's Jesse, and he's there to take her out for the 8 a.m. patrol. Um, they have a nice relationship too. It seems like he lets her know that he found out about the kiss the night before, and that even though he used to date Dina, he teases Ellie, but he's okay with it. Like, he's cool. Um, I'm gonna be really sad when he dies, I think.
Oh,
No
does he
spoilers.
die?
Oh, damn. Okay. There's so much in this episode that, like, they're jamming exposition into their walk and talk here. One of the things we learn is that the dead are using the infected are using their dead as insulation to keep
Yeah.
warm in the cold, and that there could be 30, there could be 1,000 infected under the snow out there, which is
And we will
terrifying.
soon find out what that number is.
Yeah, like within 10 minutes. um, Ellie wants to go on patrol with Joel, and Jesse questions their relationship. And she says, shit, she gets really angry and she blows up and she says, shit is complicated, but no matter what they go through, Joel's still Joel and I'm still me. So, I mean, that's a great relationship, like in terms of like trust and um, knowing that no matter how bad things get, we can always reset and always be there. Like, I mean, as messed up as their relationship is, that's a great core to base it on.
So let me ask you this: like, from where we saw them at the end of the last episode to like where we see Ellie now, I guess what do you think happened? Did anything happen, or is it just Ellie being Ellie?
Well, I have a big theory for that we'll get to later down, but that could be something that caused strife between them. But it's like we were talking about this when we watched after we watched the first episode, is that Ellie could just be mad if she found out that Joel lied to her, but she could just be mad at him because she's a teenager, or she could be mad at him for something we don't know about. And I'm excited to. I'm hesitant to even guess specifics, but I'm open to the flashback era of season 2. Like, bring it on. I love it. It's great. It's gonna be good. So she wants to go with Joel, but Jesse says that Joel already left with Dina an hour ago. So Ellie's stuck with Jesse. Before they leave, Jesse brings her to like the town hall or
Yeah, the hall, I guess, or the
yeah,
cafeteria.
there's a cafeteria, yeah, and there's a meeting going on in there where we see Tommy talking to everybody. It's the end of the meeting, and he's basically going over the instructions of what you're supposed to do if there's madness, if all hell breaks loose. You know, be ready, listen for the bells. Don't be like Earl, he says. Did you catch that?
I did not catch that.
Okay, I didn't hear it until I watched this episode twice, and the second time around, they're like, or someone from the audience says, "Don't be like Earl," and Tommy's like, "Yeah, don't shoot yourself in the foot like Earl did," or something like that. So don't be like Earl. What I loved about this 2 minutes of scene, or 1 minute even, is that Tommy is a great leader. Like, he's really confident and really friendly and open, and like, you trust him, you want to believe in him. Like, he's great. Like, I love what he's become.
Yeah, I mean, this is different than in the game because in the game it's Joel and Tommy that go out on a patrol together, not Joel and
Oh,
Dina.
oh, okay. So Dina's leading this meeting? No, I'm just kidding.
Dina has a different role.
Crazy. Once this season's over, I want you to go back and be like, here's what everyone did.
I
Well,
feel like I
yeah,
need to replay the second game again, and
yeah.
I almost started playing the second game again, but I can't find it.
Oh, jeez.
I'm 95% sure I still have it, but I don't know where it is.
It's always in the last place you look. It's probably in your PS5. You're like, oh, wait, there it is. You know what part I want to watch is I want to watch the Joel murder scene. I want to watch a replay of the game
Yeah.
to see what that's like. But we'll talk more about that as we go. Let's see here. Oh, so he brings her to Dina, and sorry, Jesse brings Ellie to Maria, who's at this town meeting too. That's how he gets her there. She's like, Maria wants to talk to you. And Maria wants to talk to her because she wants to give Seth the opportunity to apologize to Ellie. Can you explain who Seth is and if he's relevant at all in the game?
So Seth's role is basically what we've seen in the last episode. In this episode, he calls out Dina and Ellie for um, showing their love in a public setting. Um, he gets assaulted by Joel,
Right.
and then he apologizes later on and gives them sandwiches. I think in the game it would have been uh, Ellie and Dina at that in that scene.
um, he apologizes, and for what it's worth, like, I thought he was genuine. Like, he's like, I shouldn't have said what I said. I shouldn't have even thought what I said. It was stupid. Like, I kind of believed him, but I also think that Ellie was justified in not like accepting the apology. Like, it's not like she says like, I don't accept, but she basically just blows him off.
Yeah, she's real like a stone wall in
Yeah,
that interaction. She's not saying anything basically.
yeah. I mean, he messed up, but it doesn't mean they need to be friends. But I think he was genuine in his apology. But yeah, yeah. Um, so after this, we're introduced to the fifth character, the Storm. uh, everyone's worried about a storm. Or Ellie says, should we be worried about the storm? And Jesse says, no, it's up in the mountains. It'll be okay. Which, of course, means storm madness is
You have
coming.
said anything, Jesse.
And this is an episode where, like, like, when I make my notes, I break scenes. Like, here's what this scene is, and here's what happens. At this point, it's really like it jumps. Like, it's back and forth in so many different ways. Like, at this point, it jumps over to Abby, who spots the riders. Like, she spots two riders um, that are on patrol and heads after them. But that then it jumps over to Tommy, who's calling everybody back on the radio. And then it jumps over to Jesse and Ellie, who take cover in a 7-Eleven. Um, and they have a scene in the 7-Eleven. Let's talk about their entire 7-Eleven journey, maybe.
Yeah, the 7-Eleven that's full of marijuana, basically.
The 7-Eleven grow house. Ellie's like, am I seeing this? And he's like, are you seeing a 7-Eleven filled with marijuana? Do they have 7-Elevens in Wyoming?
I mean, I think 7-Elevens are national, so they must have them. I would assume that they have them in Wyoming. In the game, I don't think this is a 7-Eleven. I think mostly because they probably couldn't clear 7-Eleven.
That makes
They didn't
sense.
try to clear 7-Eleven for the game. It is a grow house full of marijuana.
It's
Uh,
full. What's this
but
like in the game?
it's if I remember correctly, it's not like on the surface. I think it's underground. I want to say like they have to go underground to find it. I think I may be mixing this up with something else. Maybe in the first game, but there is a lot of marijuana in this section. But it is Ellie and Dina who find this, um, and they find out that it is, and I think we find out in the show as well that this is Eugene's.
Right. And Eugene is, of course, the husband of the therapist from the first episode. I forget her name. Um, it's Catherine Harris' character, but I can't
Yeah.
remember the character's name. But anyway, Eugene is dead, but this was his spot. And Jesse quickly explains that like he used to go on patrol with Eugene, and Eugene had showed him this place as like a safe spot, and that's why he brought Ellie there during the storm to be safe.
So, in the last episode, the therapist does mention that Eugene used to grow pot.
Yeah.
Um, you know, sticky as whatever glue.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess the other thing that we find out about Eugene in this, and I almost mentioned this in the last episode, in our last recap episode. So Eugene was a firefly
Right.
at
There's
some
like a
point.
medal in there. That
Yeah.
yeah.
And you like so in the game, I think both games, you go around and collect them. Like you will find those dog
Oh,
tags like throughout the world.
that's
Um,
cool.
so they're collectibles in the game.
That's especially
And
cool for Joel, who killed a bunch of them.
yes,
So like he's all like, bam, bam, bam. A one from you, a one from you. No, cool job. So here's Eugene is labeled as a firefly or identified as, but also identified as super old. Jesse says he thinks that Eugene was in Vietnam. Um, and then he says, as a quote, that was a raw deal, Joel having to put him down. And the way Ellie looks at him, sort of knowingly, like she knows there's more to it. Like
yeah.
maybe she was there when Joel had to put him down. It made me think about like what that could possibly be. And here's my Eugene theory of the week, because I might come back with more if we get more Eugene tidbits. So my Eugene theory is that Joel had to put him down because he found out about Ellie's immunity, whether he saw her get bit or whatever. And then Joel was like, you can't like, or what? Sorry, Eugene was like, we got to tell everybody. And Joel's like, we got to tell nobody. You don't know how many people I killed, from the last group of people that knew this. So um, that would make it even more crazier. And I could see that as being one of the things that Ellie was potentially mad at Joel for. So that's my Eugene theory of the week.
Yeah. So this is the extent of the Eugene stuff in from the game. We've, I mean, we don't even get mention of Eugene before we find his grow house. Um, so and what's interesting about the differences between this like the show and the game is that because it is like Dina and Ellie in the sequence, like we get more of their relationship, like kind of growing, and we actually like Dina actually, and they might save this for later, but like she mentioned the tattoos that Ellie has and like kind of the scars on her arm.
So they cover a lot of the information that we got in the TV version in the first episode. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, Yeah, that seems like a good way to do it, especially if we haven't seen that first the events of that first episode for yet in the game. So we then come back to Abby, and she falls down the mountain. At first, I was like, Abby knows what she's doing. Like she slides down on her butt, like for like 8 feet, and I was like, Abby is not messing around. She's like a smooth criminal, but
But then she
nope.
keeps on sliding.
Yeah, and she straight up falls. And she falls into like that insulated valley of insulation infected, just the hands sticking up and heads. And at first, I mean, people watching that know the show know that this is the undead. But if you didn't, you would be like, oh, these are just dead people.
Yeah.
Like you could assume it's like one of those mass graves we saw in the third episode of season 1. But then the closer she looks, she sees mushroom heads and you know yearning tendrils or whatever. Uh, and she knows it's bad. But before she can even think of what to do, the ground starts to collapse beneath her. And we get like the infected avalanche. What the hell is this like in the game?
So I don't recall there being an infected avalanche. She does get like chased throughout like the I think the sequence coming up with her where like with the fence and all that stuff and like and Joel that is all straight from the game, but I don't specifically remember like her triggering an infected avalanche.
It's really crazy, especially because even though we're a season and 2 episodes into the show, we haven't really seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, we have not seen this many infected in one place except for maybe Kansas City.
Right. That's what I
But
was going to say.
even
Kansas
then,
City,
like it probably wasn't as many as we've seen in this episode.
not nearly. We get like a whole season's worth of infected in this episode. It's crazy. Um, and scary because they chase her down and they chase her through that fence that you mentioned, which God is maybe one of the best, like most effective zombie sequences ever. Like it's so claustrophobic. Like it's like the one guy's pushing his hand through the fence. He's like, I'm going to touch you no matter what. It's so creepy. And then like when you think the fence can't fall anymore, it falls a little more. And then someone sneaks through. It's wait, oh my god, the fence.
Oh, the fences failed her.
God, the fence failed.
I mean, Joel did in episode 3 of the previous season did say the fence was going to fail at some point. He was not referring to this fence, but fences in general, I think.
All right. For anyone that might be listening to this, you got to go back and listen to our episode 1 or season 1 episode 3 rewatch because we were all in on the fence, or I was at least. Like I was, he was like my third favorite character in the whole series at that point. The fence, and there was a fence here, which is like my favorite failing character. It just goes to show you when characters can be great, but they can also be terrible. Like they can also fail, but still be
Yeah.
wonderful.
I mean, a character that fails is a very interesting character, so it's interesting to watch.
I love it. I love it. Really, seriously though, great sequence of her just like trying to crawl through. And it's so weird because we're not supposed to root for her, but we are rooting for her. Like, we don't want her to kill Joel, but we don't want her to die from these zombies either, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
not the feeling I had anyway.
So you play as Abby through this sequence. So as you're controlling her, you don't want her to die because that means game over for you.
Yeah. That's crazy that they make you play as her. Um, Especially like, do you know who she is?
I don't think you know the extent. Like you definitely don't get all the information that you get in this episode of her when you're playing through with her.
So like you get to the point where she kills Joel and you're like, why are we doing this?
So I will say
Or should we save that for the actual scene?
we can say it for the actual scene.
All right, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to slide us off in different directions. But yeah, we'll get there quick. But there's just so much. This episode's crazy. Uh I say so Joel saves her from the infected. He shoots one and says, give me your hand. Run, child, or kid, or whatever. uh He saves her, and she finds out like right away because Dina calls up, Joel, what's going on? And the look on her face is like, Like, oh my God.
She's like,
And
I
she,
know that name.
yeah. And she goes for a weapon. She like reaches for something, but then he's standing in front of her and she looks right at his gun, which is in his hand. Um, so she knows it's not the right time. But part of me was like, oh, is she gonna go for it right away? Like just like, here's my chance. Um, she doesn't. She convinces them to go back to the lodge. And she rides with Joel. And she has to
Yeah, she has to hug
go along.
him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to hug Joel, which is tragic for her, but like, how can you stay mad at Pedro Pascal when you have to hug him for
so handsome.
10 to 15 minutes? And he smells like a man. Like a rugged mountain man. I don't know. By the end of that ride, she's like, maybe I won't kill him. It's a coin toss when we get back to the cabin. All right, then we cut to just a brief scene of Amy and the radio. So Amy is a character that is in charge of communications, apparently. And she's calling out to everybody to make sure they come back, and everyone's accounted for except for Joel and Dina. Amy in the game, or you don't
I don't
remember?
think she is in the game, but I want to point out the kind of irony now that Joel. The only reason Joel is here in Jackson is because uh, Tommy wouldn't answer their calls, and
Yeah,
now Joel will not answer Tommy's call.
true irony. But will Tommy go out to find him? If that's the thing. I mean, of course, no, he won't have a chance because he'll come. Joel's body will return before. Ellie finds a bong mask. Is that in the game? It's like a
I
gas
don't
mask with
know
a
for
bong
sure, but it
next to it.
feels like it would be from the game.
Bro, it should be, yeah. And then they go out. They hear word that Joel and Dina are missing, and then they go to find them, and they split up, which is key. Uh, then we cut back to the city and the pipe work. They're working on the pipes in the middle of this storm, like a bunch of ding dongs. Like, take
Yeah, I
it,
don't know
man.
why they're still working.
I like when the first time through, I was like, is this during the attack? Like, what are they doing? Gotta get these pipes fixed. Guy cracks open a pipe and he uses a tool to remove some of the roots, and he can see that some of it's alive. And to him and to us, that indicates
Yeah,
communication through the root system
yeah.
that that the infected are coming.
And I think it's really interesting that like we kind of see the effects of them uncovering these roots like, as these infected are chasing Joel, Dina, and Abby. Like we see them peel off.
Right, right. Well, at first we see a whole other horde
Oh
come
yeah,
out.
that's right.
So it's like this root system didn't contact the lodge zombies. It contacted the north, mountain zombies. And then they come running down the mountain, and then the lodge zombies are like, "Hey, what are these guys up to?" And then yeah, they just peel off, and instead of chasing after um, Joel and Abby and Dina, they join the other mob and become
Super mob.
a super mob, and then head towards the town where they've gotten the call from the foolish carpenter working in a snowstorm. All right, then begins the Jackson Watchman. He sees them coming, the guy on the thing, and they ring the bell, which is the signal, and then begins the battle. That this battle's not in the game at all.
Not at all. Like um so it's interesting because it does add another layer of um like obstacle, I guess, for the inhabitants of Jackson and like Joel and all that. Because at some point Joel sees Jackson burning and he wants to turn around like right away.
Yeah, yeah.
Which doesn't happen in the game because in the game it is Joel and Tommy who are with Abby at this point.
Oh, okay. That's a shame. Tommy doesn't get his hero uh his hero moment that he gets in this episode, which is crazy. All right, so let's run over a few things. It's almost medieval what they have set up. Like it's a wall, obviously, and then they do like the zombies are coming sort of World War Z style, like they
Yeah,
smash
they're
into the
slamming
wall.
right into the wall.
Yeah, like let's just climb on each other. But then their first form of attack is barrels. So they smash them with some barrels, real Donkey Kong style. And then they shoot the barrels, and I was like, it has to be explosive, right? Because it's just like gushing out this liquid. I was like, maybe they're supposed to slip on it. I don't know. But eventually they throw fire at it and it blows up, and it's cool, but not the best idea for a wood fence
Yeah.
to have flaming monsters running through it, and then, I mean, I don't know. I guess you work with what you got.
Yeah, I'm curious because in the game they do mention that Jackson has been under attack before, and we don't actually ever get to see that. But it is really interesting to see like what kind of defenses that they've come up with. I wonder how many times they've had to like replace like logs in that wall though, because they're like, oh, maybe we need to like adjust the angle of the barrels now because it's landing a little bit too close to our wooden wall.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they put down the ramps for the barrels, and it has like a lip on the end that kind of like shoots up a little bit. So, and then I was like, "What is that? Like, what is it? What are they going to roll down this?" But yeah, so maybe they did do it. They must have done a couple barrel tests. So they do the fire. They do the fire barrels. Tommy spots a turn in the tide, and he sees a bloater, and he knows right away this is it. He's like, "A breach is coming. There's nothing we can do." He knows the bloater is going to break the gate. What's the deal with the bloaters? Like, I know we talked about this last in the season 1 rewatch, but what are they?
So they are bloaters are basically they've lived for longer than most infected have. Like it takes a while for them to like I guess grow all this fungus all around them, which is why they're bigger, I think.
Okay.
So it basically like they're armored essentially.
Okay, okay. See,
That's why they're bigger.
bloat kind of implies water, like they're just swollen.
Well,
Uh,
the other thing in the game is that, and they don't ever do this in the show, at least not yet, is that they will throw like fungus spores at you and they explode.
there was a point when it was walking down the street where it seemed like it was spitting fungus spores, and my wife said to me, is that like a projectile? I was like, I bet there's some sort of like it just makes sense that there would be somebody that does that in the game, but uh, yeah, he's actually just throwing them. That's crazy. So I was very frustrated because my idea of the bloaters that they're like alive but underground, like just not doing anything, just kind of like growing, not like working out. Like, why are they so strong? Like, is it which day is leg day in underground?
I mean, every day is like day, I think,
Every day
underground.
is leg day. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but like this thing's like he's a powerhouse. He takes down the wall in no time. The armor I get, it's the strength that really confuses the hell out of me. Like, why are they strong? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never really explain that. Um, I will say this is only the second bloater that we've ever seen in the show. And the first one we don't actually get to see die.
It's still out there.
Yeah.
It's the
And
king of Kansas City.
that is the one that like rips um Game Tommy's head off.
Right. He rips Game Tommy's head off. And don't think that didn't cross my mind when this bloater was chasing down TV Tommy. I was like, oh my God, are we going to get both Tommies have their head ripped off? He lures the bloater away and flamethrowers it to death. Why
Yeah.
are flames so effective? Because flames were a big part of all of their
Yeah.
effects.
So um I mean essentially from my understanding they just burn um and like eventually they die. So and like I think I mentioned this in the first season rewatch is that was one of my favorite strategies in the game was to light a Molotov cocktail, throw it in the middle of a clicker, and have all the other clickers like converge on that one clicker, and all of them die.
And you just stand back there laughing,
Stand
but
back, yeah.
silently, like a silent laugh.
But I love the whole flamethrower sequence where at first there are four guys with flamethrowers, and two of them immediately run away.
Yeah, it becomes one and a half like that.
Yeah.
Like it really goes away fast. Um, I mean, wouldn't you? Like, I don't know if I could stare down 100
Yeah.
zombies running at me and be like, okay, like give me a
Yeah.
wall,
I
man.
don't I don't know, like, do you think it's something that they volunteered for, or like they were
Fighter brigade.
chosen?
Yeah, I, it's got to be volunteer, right?
I
Are they
got, yeah, I
drawing
mean,
straws?
Tommy is one of them. Tommy probably volunteered, right?
100%.
I don't know who the other guy was that died pretty quickly. He stood his ground, I guess. So he probably volunteered, right?
Probably. Listen, here's the thing: everybody could volunteer, but everybody reacts to death differently.
Yeah.
Like,
When you're
and you can't
staring at
fault
like
them.
thousands of infected running at you,
Yeah,
and
you can't fault.
you're hoping that the flame will stop them. It's not a wall. It's just flame.
Yeah,
Like,
it's something that they could just knock into you and would hurt you just as much too. Yeah, it's a dead man's job, but Tommy gets out of it okay, amazingly. My favorite line of defense, can you guess? It's the dogs.
yeah, those dogs. Whoa.
Who's training these dogs?
How are they training these dogs?
Yeah, they're like bite, they're like murder, kill, destroy. Not us. Them. Like, how do they know? I mean, they're dogs, they would know. I mean, even as we were watching, my wife was like we were watching Tommy shoot zombies. She's like, how does he know who's who? Like, it's not like their bad guys are wearing, it's not like the
Yeah.
bad guys' guns shoot red and the good guys' guns shoot blue, like the G.I. Joe. But yeah, but the dogs would know better, but just based on smell, probably. But it's a tough training process. Some angry dogs. Anyway, I love the dogs. It was great. And then we cut away after that. That's the end of the battle, but epic battle, like epic TV. Like, this is a monster episode, and like that's a big part of it.
So like
Um,
I guess knowing what was coming up with Joel, I was wondering like are they not going to do it in this episode? Are they going to do it in the next episode? Because they could conceivably with all that's happened so far with the Battle of Jackson, like they could have like left it on a cliffhanger and done it in the next episode. Although we have not known The Last of Us to ever end on a cliffhanger or leave
right,
anything unsettled,
right.
right?
No, they're always like, yeah, they always take it a little bit further, a little bit too far. Um, no, but yeah, I don't think they would have done that only because, I mean, obviously they made the right choice, but they wouldn't have done that because then people would have known, like the game players would have known it was coming.
Yeah,
They would have said like, oh, he's definitely going to die in episode
in the
3.
next episode.
Whereas this, like, they're like, it can't be tonight. Like as someone who didn't know what was going to happen, I know there's no way I thought he was going to die. Like, I thought there would be a way out of it, or I didn't think it would go where it would go, but I mean, we're not quite there yet, but we are actually almost. We then come back to Abby, who's coming up on the horse. Her friends are looking for her, and she comes up. They go inside to warm up. Dina's being treated for a little frostbite. Uh, and Abby outs Joel. She's like, "This is Dina, and that's Joel." Like, her whole face changes. This is great. So I mean, a lot of stuff happens here. I gotta assume most of it's from the game, right? They put Dina, or in the game's case, Tommy, to sleep.
Oh, they do not put him to sleep. They beat him up. They mess him up. Like
Oh, they
they
mess up Tommy too. Okay,
yeah.
so there's none of this. We're not gonna hurt anybody else besides Joel, right? No, we're gonna hurt anybody we see. Okay, what is that like then? Because you're a pack of people that are angry and hurting people that you don't even know, like, but you have to play as them.
Yeah, so I think you don't like you play up to a certain point with Abby. So where Joel and Tommy rescue Abby up through the arrival at the cabin. Um I think most of the actual like torture is a cutscene. Um and then you actually cut back to Ellie, who's on like trying to find Joel.
Okay.
So
All
and
right, and then
you
it comes
play
to her, and
through,
she
yeah.
joins the, yeah. Okay, good. So you're not controlling Abby during the torture.
No, you're not.
My God, I couldn't even imagine. Okay, then we got let's see here. Oh, I mean, this whole scene I don't even know how to unpack it. Like, they knock Dina out. She says, oh, she'll let Dina live if Joel tells the truth or he admits the truth. And he does. She says, when's the last time you saw the fireflies? And he says the right place. And then Joel's like, he's like, hey, I saved your life. And she shoots him in the kneecap. Instant kneecap karma for everything that he did to that one guy's kneecap. And oh my God. And she goes to town on it later. All right, she explains the code of the WLF Association, uh, that they don't kill people that can't defend themselves. But some things everyone agrees are just wrong. And that's why she is going to kill Joel. I assume that code will come up again and again later on. Or is it just to emphasize what's going on here?
I think it will come up again. There's another conflict that comes up with the wolves.
Okay.
Let's say that.
I look forward to it. So Caitlin Devers as Abby is doing great. This is her scene and she's killing it. So good. She's monologuing though, and she starts to monologue again, and Joel's just like, "Shut up and shoot," to get it over with. And then she goes full Casey Jones on him. She finds some golf clubs, and when she swings it down, I didn't expect her to hit the knee, but
Yeah.
yeah, she really she goes after that knee, and then it
So
cuts away.
I will say that Joel actually says in the game like get on with it, like say what you say what you wanted to say, and then just like get on with it, basically, because like he knows he's not the best guy, and he
Yeah,
knows that people are like there are people who hate him and are probably after him, and like finally one person has caught up to him, and that's Abby.
yeah, it's crazy. It is. I mean, it's a straight up Kill Bill situation where she says to that one little girl, "When you get older, if you feel bad about this, come kill me." Uh, he came and killed. She came and got him. It's crazy. So we cut to Ellie. She arrives at the lodge and sneaks in. And she sneaks in just as Abby's going to town on Joel. It's much more than his knee now. He's a mess. Um, but even her friends are like, "All right, let's wrap it up. Like enough's enough. Let's get this over with." Ellie sneaks in and is an instant attack. Like she takes a shot, but it gets pushed away. She throws a couple. It's like that Daredevil fight, the Daredevil bullseye fight in the beginning of the Born Again season, where she's just tossing knives. She's like, she nicks one guy, and he's pissed. But they take her down and watch basically Joel die. And even at this moment, I was like, how are they going to get out of this one? Like, how is Joel
Yeah.
gonna spin this around? And he's not. When that she takes a broken golf club and shoves it into his neck. As it happened, even as it happened, I was like, "Oh, is that his head or his shoulder?" I was trying to justify it, like it didn't. I couldn't process it.
Yeah, I think like that particular like I think Joel dies slightly differently in the game. Like
Okay,
it's not like he does get it beat up with golf clubs. Abby does most of the beating. Um, I don't remember like him getting jabbed with the broken golf club. I want to say it's more of like she's like actually like does one final hit with the golf club.
okay.
But this is, and it's interesting, and I'm curious if it is something that they made for the show um, to kind of give people like a little bit of ambiguity whether or not Joel is still alive, or like because it may not have been a fatal stabbing.
Oh no, but his face. Like,
Yeah, he is messed up. Like,
that's
but
what
I'm
it
saying
was.
like he could have. I could see if you didn't know that Joel was going to die in that scene, like there's enough ambiguity about like that where it's like, oh, is he just really badly hurt and not dead?
There was there was something about it that where I was like, "Oh, he's definitely dead." Like just the like his eyes were open and he was like lifeless and he looked dead. Does that make sense? Uh, but I was going through the stages of grief really fast, but like, so I had accepted it, but And then of course the episode ends with them dragging his body, his wrapped up body.
Yeah.
So if Bruh's not dead, like not the best way to get him home. Real quick, do you think that the broken golf club was a nod to the broken bat that Joel got stabbed with in the first season?
I
Like
mean, he
they're
does
like
get stabbed with a lot. I get this is at least two broken sports
sports, yeah,
sports
sports equipment. Yeah,
tools. I don't know what do you
yeah.
call them.
Well, sports equipment. He's getting busted up with that broken sports equipment. Um, but anyway, great scene for Abby. Great scene for Ellie, who um does a great job switching from the despair of watching Joel die to the bloodlust of wanting
Yeah, the
to kill
fury.
everybody. Yeah. And you can see that the show, for me, season 2 was going to be about Joel and Ellie reconciling what he did. And after the first episode, it was going to be about Abby's revenge. Now it's about Ellie's revenge. Like Abby's like done, right?
Yeah.
So like, but like now Ellie's beginning her journey. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 5-year jump, and Ellie comes up to Seattle and she's got a broken golf club with her. But I don't know what happens, so whatever. So they play that song, the um, Through the Valley.
Yeah. And I believe it's being sung by Ashley Johnson.
Is
Like it
that
sounds
true?
like her.
Well, that's great. Um, yeah, it'd be cool if they could find ways to bring her back even more. Like I know, I know they killed off the guy that plays Joel, and they killed off the guy that plays Tommy, and they killed off the girl that plays Ellie. But it'd be cool if they could come back somehow.
I mean, if we do if there's a theoretical third season, or I guess if there's like it this the fourth, maybe a fourth season where it's the Ghost of Jackson,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we yeah, all of them could come back,
Oh my
every single one of them.
God. No one dies in the Last of
I
Us.
mean, they're dead, but they're ghosts, so it's okay.
Right, right. Oh, and they play that's where they play that guitar song. Yeah, that's the other thing. We know there's confirmed season 2B. Like there's like season 2 and then season 2 part 2 for season 3.
Yeah,
Like that's confirmed, right? Like they're
I
splitting
believe it
this.
is.
Okay. But like the main character just died. So like I mean it's overwhelming. I mean we've seen this in shows before, but um it's still it's never easy to take in. If this was a movie, if they had done The Last of Us as a movie, this wouldn't have been surprising at all, because we would have been expecting an ending by the time the movie was over. So Joel making a sacrifice, or this kind of thing would have been cool, but not surprising. Do you know what I mean? But with another 18 episodes to go before the series is over, it's a little weird. But I know it shifts. I know it's good. I mean, ultimately the town survives and the wolves head back to Seattle. But the town surviving is a great victory.
Yeah, it's a great victory, but like you like the assumption is that like many people have died. So like
Yeah.
the worries that Joel had in the first episode where they were growing too fast, letting too many survivors in, not so much a concern anymore.
Yeah, this is population control. This is Mother Nature saying there's too many people here. All right, I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
What's the most video game moment of this episode?
The I think it's Abby with the fence. Like that is like I can vividly remember like going through that like fence and having it collapse more and more onto me as I controlled Abby.
Is it time based? Like you need to get through it in a certain amount of time?
I don't think it is time based. I don't know that I've never like failed that sequence, so I don't know if you can fail that sequence, but like and then like being saved by Joel at like on the other side of the fence, the whole thing with like the shot to the infected that's on top of her
Yeah.
and the ringing in the ears, like that is all straight from the game.
Awesome. So cool. And must have been like a huge shock. Like, well, there's a guy I know.
Yeah,
Because
I,
do
I'm
you
trying
start
to
the game as Abby? Like, or do you
I'm
start
trying
as
to
Ellie?
think. No, I think you start as Ellie, but then you you transition to Abby. So like from my recollection, and it has been a few years since I played Last of Us Part Two. Um, you start off as Ellie, I think in Jackson, and you do a lot of like the things that are in town. You go out on patrol. Think I don't know if at some point like it might actually be when um Ellie and Dina go into Eugene's grow house where you switch over to Abby, and then you see her journey to that. And then I
Because that's like a resting place for Ellie.
yeah, and I like I'm kind of questioning my recollection now because I think you do know that Abby is looking for Joel.
You
Like
do.
I think you do because I kind of remember when you see Joel again or when Joel saves Abby, like it's both a relief and like you know uh I don't know.
Like Joel knows who she is,
Joel doesn't know who she is, but
but the
like it,
audience does.
yeah, Abby like we the
Because you're
audience
Abby.
knows that Abby's looking for
Right.
Joel.
Oh, and that's Joel.
Um
You're like, hey, that's Joel.
Yeah. There's a whole sequence actually in that, like, um, right before Joel and Dina ride off on their horses, where in the game it's Joel and Tommy, and you fight a lot of infected together. So like you're playing as Abby, and you're killing infected along with Joel and Tommy.
Okay. That's like a huge bonding experience.
Yeah,
All right. There was one point in this where I was like, oh, that feels like a video game. When Tommy's running away from the bloater and he runs into like a back alley, but it's just filled with like random boxes
yeah.
that he can't get past. I was like, that's you've exited the game area. Return if you don't want to
I
cancel the
guess
mission.
that is another video game. And I know you asked me just for the one, but like I'd forgotten about Tommy with the flamethrower because you do get a flamethrower in the game,
Oh, fun.
and it does have fuel, and then you run out of that fuel. So like, um, that felt very true to the game.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Okay. How would you like to die in this episode? I have four options for you. One is going to be the way that Joel dies, which I don't even want to try to break down in any kind of funny way. But the next is don't be Earl, the guy that shoots himself in the leg. Let's assume it gets worse. Earl Earl shoots
Is
himself.
Earl confirmed kill?
Yeah, Earl confirmed kill. Shoots himself in the artery in the leg, bleeds out, uh, and also opens the pipe and lures the the infected. Number three, the insulation avalanche, where they just pile on top of you. Let's assume Abby got caught there and died, and let's assume Tommy died in this one too. So for the last one, a bloater on fire. He's on fire. It's a bloater on fire, and he corners you on fire, and he kills
And
you
I'm
on
Tommy in this
fire.
situation.
You're Tommy in the situation.
I mean the best way to go is to be Earl.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, you're an idiot for
Yeah,
shooting yourself in
yeah,
the leg, so you die of your own stupidity. But you don't die getting smothered by a giant bloater on fire. Because I assume that's how you die, right? You get
yeah.
smothered, not the fire. The fire will hurt, but you really die from
It
the
wouldn't be
bloater.
this.
Like
It would. It would be the smothering because he would do the head rip, or the jaw
yeah.
on fire. So you'd
Well,
be bubbling at the same time.
so but if the bloater, like say in the show, like the bloater dies soon after, like Tommy runs out of fuel, and but just lands on top of you.
Just like
So yeah,
crunch.
like you can't move because the bloater's too heavy.
My God.
It's on fire, and now you're on fire, but you don't die from the fire. You die from the smothering.
Yeah. What do you do? Do you eat your way out because he's mushroom? Like cooked mushroom now too.
Ooh,
Sauteed.
I mean, you just need a little
Get
bit
a
of
little
salt,
pinch
pepper.
of salt. Ah, bon appetit. um, I agree. Any any way you could die in this world where it doesn't involve a monster is a plus solution. um, and then last window watch. I have window watch this week where I try to find as many significant windows in the show that I can because the windows are so significant in the game. All I found was the window in the lodge where they look over, and it's very picturesque, and you get a clean shot of Jackson. And when Joel first gets there, he's super like
Yeah, he's
distracted
focused.
by it. Like this girl's basically telling him that he's going to die, and he's like, "Yeah, but just
Yeah,
real quick, let me look over
I'll
here."
deal with you in a second. This is on
Yeah,
fire.
just real quick, just let me look out this giant window. Um, yeah, but no other windows that I noticed.
I did not notice any other windows either.
But window watch will continue. Fear not, we'll find the perfect windows. And that is episode 2.
Yeah, it was a doozy.
Exhausted. It's an exhausting episode.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned it throughout the kind of the shock of Joel dying, not on your radar at all.
No.
I guess because we knew that Abby was on her way to Jackson or was near Jackson, and we knew that Abby had a vendetta against Joel. What was your thought going into this episode? How that was going to play out? Like, did you think it was going to play out in this episode? I
Well,
guess.
in our last episode, where we were looking back at the first episode of the season, I think one of the last things I said was like, "Oh, they end with this cliffhanger where like Joel and Abby could butt heads like right away." Butt heads is way different than murder. It could have gone anywhere. Like even to the point where after she shot him in the knee and put a tourniquet on him, like I was like, oh, she's gonna take him with them and torture him, and he's gonna be in Seattle, and Ellie's gonna have to come save him. All of that would be great, would be fun. I mean, what they do is obviously insane. I prefer, like, I'm glad they did it. Like, I didn't want Joel to die, but like, this is very sad. This is unsatisfyingly satisfying. I really am glad they went with it. Because it's just great TV. It's great storytelling, and even though I was not rooting for Abby to be successful, I'm not mad that she did it. Like, this is what she. This, Joel was a bad dude. Like,
Yeah, he did bad things,
yeah,
but I think what the second game, and I think this is the second game is divisive. I think I mentioned that in the previous episode. The second game is divisive. I think a lot because you are put into the shoes of Abby
okay,
a lot. Like I would say it's just about equal, 50% Ellie, 50% Abby, and like having been so attached to Joel and having Joel die by Abby's hand so early on in the game, like I think for a lot of players it was just a bridge too far. They're like, I don't want to be this person.
yeah, and you have to be here for so much of the game.
Yeah. But what I think the second game does better than the first game is that it shows the kind of the different perspectives of this world. So like depending on who you are, like you're a hero or you're a villain. And we kind of see that uh in the first season of the show, not in the game, but in the show. With stuff like Kathleen and Henry and Sam, and like it really depends on your perspective, like who is the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah,
And I feel like they took a look at Last of Us Part One and Part Two at the games, and then said like, can we apply that to the first season as well? And I think that's what they did. So I think as we continue on with the second season, we'll see a lot more different perspectives from the various factions in this world.
that's great. And you're right. By adding that kind of storytelling to season 1, it makes the whole feel so much more connected.
Yeah.
Is there a game that you would want to play both sides of, like Mario and Bowser? Or like what game would it be fun to do both, like the hero and the villain of?
So I mean, there's a few different types of games like this. So like, I think there's like a Friday the 13th game where you play as Jason, and then like you other people play as like the survivors. Like they're trying to kill Jason, and Jason's trying to kill the survivors.
But that's not
Like
like
I
a
think that
story mode game. It's just kind of like a one versus everybody.
Yeah, it's more of like a multiplayer kind of thing. I've always wanted somebody to play or develop a game where um it's like D&D, but like one player is the dungeon master and the other
Yeah.
players are the players. But like I kind of imagine like, and I don't know if the technology will ever support this, but for the dungeon master it's more of like a real-time strategy game where you're like deploying like monsters to this area and like setting traps in this area, and the players are playing it more as like a third person game where like they're running around the corridors and they happen upon like a goblin or stuff like that. I think that would be like a really fun game.
That's really interesting, but it goes against everything I believe in Dungeons and Dragons. Um, it's too often the dungeon master gets mad with power and unleashes everything on the players. When in a perfect situation, a dungeon master is part of the team. A dungeon master should be helping them get through it, not like throwing impossible gelatinous cubes at them. Like those are dungeon masters that have gone mad. They're having god trips. They're on power trips. They can't. It's it should be banished. But as a game where you're like against each other, it's interesting. Or you got to limit the powers of the dungeon master
Well,
somehow.
there would probably be like gameplay limitations because like in real-time strategy games think of like Warcraft or StarCraft, like
Yeah,
there are resources that you need to like accumulate first before you can like build like, I don't know, ships or whatever.
you're like, I'll
So it'd be
send.
a similar thing.
So you can't like I'm going to send 30 goblins at you. It's like, oh, no, you can only send three. Can they at least be wearing chainmail instead of nothing?
No, the three naked goblins are heading your way.
Well, this show about a video game got especially nerdy at the very end.
I mean, I want to say it's probably been nerdy through the entire runtime of this episode, uh,
100%. Yeah.
just in different ways.
Shall we look to the future?
Yes. Well, I don't know what the title of episode 3
I'm going to
is.
look it up real quick. Forgive me for not having it ready. Future days and then episode 2 and nope. They don't want to list it here. Sorry.
Episode 3.
Yeah, and then you guessed it. Episode 3. Why aren't they listing it here? Why is this the worst? I hate you. I hate you so much. Yeah, it says on the Wikipedia, it says T to be announced.
TBA.
Yeah.
Great episode title.
Ooh, what could it stand for? What could the T and the B and the A stand for?
Tuberculosis anthem.
Bronchial.
No, T and B was
Oh,
tuberculosis for me.
okay. Tuberculosis. Assholes.
Oh, that's a good one. That may be a good band name actually.
It's my fantasy football team. All right. Episode 2. Episode 3. Nothing. All right. We'll tell you next time, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So any other thoughts about this jam-packed episode of The Last of Us
I mean,
season 2?
completely epic. Going to be tough to beat, like in terms, like at the end of the season when we're like, "What was the best episode?" Like, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I mean, it's ironic that like this may be the best episode, and it is the episode where most of people's favorite character has, died.
I'm assuming it's not gonna get better than this, so I'm done. I'm out. Peace.
Anyway, so if you guys have any thoughts about this episode, feel free to drop us some comments below. And as always, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode, episode 3, tuberculosis.